Hello. I think it's going live. Hi, I'm back to talk about Emo CD some more. So, I'm just doing my usual morning, or I guess it's not morning, whatever time of this day, sharing it to people that might want to watch. I think I had a couple people watching last time, but I'm going to be doing a lot of the same stuff. I'm going to be sharing more videos of music that I listen to. I guess that's like an interesting thing to talk about. Anyone that knows me knows that I'm like super into music, so I am a little obsessed with singing and in general. When I was younger, I kind of was more specific, like I only would listen to certain types of genres, but now that I'm older, I kind of realized that that's kind of silly, so I don't do that anymore, which is more mature, but I still have favorites. And I think that's normal though. I still don't really care for country music that much, but I'll listen to some like older country music. But other than that, I really don't. Putting this on top of a Code Red can for my story, which is kind of silly. Oops, I'm gonna mess it up. Anyway, I thought I had a message, but it was just Hot Topic sending me a coupon trying to get me to buy stuff. Joke's on you, Hot Topic, because I already want to buy stuff, even if I don't have a coupon. But whatever the case, I have a bunch of albums to get through, and so I need to get to it. But I need to rearrange. This is the blanket that I gotten during Halloween time, and I really like it, and it's nice and warm, which is good because this attic will get really, really cold once the winter starts to kick in. That's why I keep my windows like pretty boarded up. That's just a big piece of cardboard. We got it, I think, when we bought my dad's TV, and then we were going to use it for some kind of craft, and we can't decide what to do with it, but it's just such a nice sturdy piece of cardboard, it seems silly. And I still have my packages. I still haven't sent. It's been months. I feel so bad, but I've just been so busy. It's been chaotic. So I'm going to get those sent out. I'm hoping this weekend, and then I can kind of reorganize in here. You can kind of see my bulletin board where I have my pins. Most of these are Skyrim related pins, or Elder Scrolls, I should say. And I have some Stray Kids pins on there and some Pokemon ones from Pokemon stuff. And I eventually want to get that on the wall actually behind where my camera is, so I can keep working on organizing this. And while I'm just rambling about other stuff, I've also been making photo cards of K-pop people. This is all Stray Kids because that's who I have. But I want to get some ATs. And I just buy like the Lomo knockoff cards right now because I don't want to mess up a real one. And I actually tape them to like a background, which is why my backgrounds are black or white. And eventually I want to like put something on the other side to make them look cool. But I really like making them, and I think it would be cool to do printouts of like other people, maybe not necessarily K-pop. Like I did one for N from Pokemon, like with a Pokemon card. But I think these are cute, but I need more stickers. I'm always looking for a sticker that matches. And so far I haven't gotten more. I put a ton on my wish list for Christmas though, so we'll see how many stickers I get. And I mean, I could buy some right now, which I honestly might tell B to buy me some because this is like a really relaxing craft for me. And I don't know really why I brought these upstairs. I also brought scissors because I think it's because I have some manga I don't read anymore and they're not in the best shape. So I think I want to cut out words from the manga and like word bubbles and stuff and then like use it as part of this, like make them into stickers with tape or something. I don't know. I feel like I have good ideas, but I need to figure out how to implement it. My little nose ring is twisting. Get that fixed. Anyway, so last week we mostly talked about, or not last week, yesterday we mostly talked about Warped Tour, and then I think we talked about some of the bands I like Icy Stars and a Skylit Drive and stuff like that. But I still have a huge stack that I showed last time, and then I have one of these that this thing's been through a lot. Like it's been through a lot of cars, and then I have like most of these are like burned ones, which again, I know that's not good, but now that I'm older, I've gone back and bought most of the ones that were actually good CDs, or I like tried to buy merch to like make up for it because I felt bad. But back when I was younger, I remember like you go to shows and like the band would like specifically tell you to burn their CDs because they didn't make as much money off of CD sales as they would if you like went to a show and bought merch. So I remember them saying that. I know it's still not right, but anyway. And then I have this huge tub. You can see how dusty they are because these are old and they've been in a closet for a long time. But I would get them out, and some of the CDs might be in the bag. Like this one I know is for Cinematic Sunrise. But anyway, so we're just going to make it through as many as we can, and I'll leave this video up. I'm going to try to timestamp everything too, just so that way, you know, if people had like a specific CD maybe that they were more interesting in, then they could just skip to that part and kind of skip people they don't like. Some, like I've ranted about Warped Tour for a long time, and like I've ranted for 6 minutes now and haven't even started talking about a CD yet. So anyway, so I'll probably hopefully do that. I like to try to go back and do that, but sometimes I forget. And that's just the honest truth. So some of these I may not know as well because I haven't listened to some of them in a long time. I still listen to a lot of emo music, but some of these bands I wasn't as into. So this is Explosions in the Sky, which technically isn't an emo band. They mostly did like, I don't know. I don't think they didn't do like singing music. And it's called The Earth Is Not a Cold Dead Place. And it was just kind of like, I don't know, more like not classical. I don't know how to describe it. Again, it's been a long time since I've listened to it. The album's just got a little bird. And it just says The Earth Is Not a Cold Dead Place, like over and over and over again. And I remember when she got this, we had it on an album, but it was like a burned album. So she put it towards the back. Let me see what genre it's considered. The Earth Is Not a Cold. It's considered post-rock. I don't remember them singing that much in this. This album was released in 2003. So, hi. So, I don't remember this one as much, but it was released in 2003, so I would have been like 13 or something like that. But I didn't want her to toss this one, so I just took it. But this one I know she used a lot because the case is not in really good shape. But let me grab, I think she's got more than one of these. So I'm going to keep those together. So I finally got the physical copy of the Alicina Where Myth Fades to Legend, which is their third album. I think the first one's technically considered an EP, and then we had On Frail Wings of Vanity and Wax album, and then we had this one. I started listening to them with that second one, which was based off of Greek and Roman mythology, and then there's this one that's based more off of like fables and fairy tale kind of. Like I said this in the last one, this is one of my favorite bands growing up. I still listen to them a lot, and I've seen them live like five times maybe. I saw them first at Warped Tour that time that they were throwing the Skeleton Animals shirts at the crowd, and I didn't get one. Of course, now Jeremy Bryan got kicked out of the band like within the last 2 weeks. I haven't seen a lot of details on that, but Alicina's like post went up saying they kicked him. So I'm assuming based off of the type of music that we listen to that probably they probably broke some laws. So anyway, so Jeremy's kicked out of the band now, but I've had good experiences with everybody else in the band. They've always been really nice. And thank you. I do like this type of music a lot. So the first time I saw them, I was probably like 14 to 16, and they were on stage at Warped Tour. And then I've seen them at a lot of smaller venues now. This was one of the first bands that like had a lot of screaming in it, and I really liked it. It was like one of my first like introductions to it, but I think I liked it because there was a lot of like clean vocals too, and I liked the subject matter a lot. It inspired me to write a lot of books. So do I like sketching or drawing? I do. I'm just not very good at it. I need to practice more, but I have too many hobbies. So anyway, I kind of like listened to these and they kind of inspired me to write some books. So I have a couple books based off of these where I would try to like incorporate the lyrics from the song into a chapter, which was kind of cool. And I had a lot of fun doing that. So I have a book based off of this one. And then I have another one based off of the first album. And I was working on a book based off of Adelphia from A Skylit Drive. And I have them all like sketched out, but I never finished writing all of them. The first two, this one and the other one, this one's half done and the other one is completely done. And I did have my friends read it and they liked it. But anyway, this is like one of my favorite bands, and this is maybe my second favorite album from them, probably. Is this a room full of albums? I do have a lot of CDs. Most of these, like I said in my stream the other day, I started collecting when I was like 11 or something when I got into being emo. So it's been over 20 years because I'm old. Band and All Ships. Probably should have talked about them when I talked about Icy Stars because they kind of had that similar aesthetic kind of music sound, that metalcore but electronicore kind of genre. And now that I go back and I watch the music videos for this, I used to think they were like so cool and like so edgy and like, you know, now I look at it and I'm like, okay, I can totally see why the younger generation of emos kind of makes fun of us back then because we're a little cringe, but back then, like, this was the epitome of like awesome, good looking, cool, but very simple black CD. Of course, he's got to look cool with his outfit. They thought they looked super neat. And like I said, back then I did. That was a really common look, was kind of like no makeup, maybe gauges, tattoos, and then like really plain clothes, like V-neck, black V-neck, white V-neck, maybe a black jacket, maybe a hoodie, maybe ripped pants, but skinny jeans, normal. But anyway, they were really, really popular, and I still like listening to them a lot. I still listen to, let's see if it's on this album. Let's see, I don't know. I think from their other album, their first album is what I listen to more than this one. Because I think this is their second album. This is from 2012. So I'm pretty sure, I'm going based off of the copyright anyway. I'm pretty sure that the other album is what I listen to more. But I really liked that aesthetic and that sound that they had for electronicore, which wasn't really popular back then, so there weren't a ton of bands doing it, and them and Icy Stars were kind of like the only ones that really had a lot of it going on. So I loved them. It's kind of like, and I'll get to Chiodos eventually because I have them somewhere, but I liked them a lot because of the piano. I thought that was just really unique. But anyway, I wish I had the other Band and All Ships album because I like that one more. When I do my reviews for my shorts, I'll probably just like have a picture and like green screen it so you can see the picture of the album in the background, and I may not necessarily physically be holding it. So even if I don't have it, I can still, now I can like listen to the CD and stream it. So if there's any that you guys want me to listen to, I'll listen to them front to back, and then I'll kind of rate how I think each song goes. I've already been listening to a Panic CD, and I've been kind of trying to listen to it multiple times so I can kind of refresh my memory on like how I felt about each individual song. I'll probably start with that one. I talked to my friend Giggle about it, and she really wants me to do it, and a lot of times when I post the stuff, it's kind of based off of that. But let's talk about AFI then. This might be a while. I probably should have shared this to my friend Eli. Let me see if they're on, because they're really into AFI. I'm not really into like a lot of the lore for AFI. I never got into them like super hardcore like that. Let me see. Is anyone awake? I'm streaming and about to talk about AFI. Let me give them a minute. So, oh, hey, Emmy. Let me give him a minute and see if my friend Eli gets on, because I'm hoping he might not be awake. We're in different time zones, so sometimes I just miss a lot of people. I have friends like in so many time zones, it makes it really hard. Like I have friends in Australia, the UK, and then like the United States has so many time zones as it is. So I'm gonna give them a second. But I'm gonna come back to AFI. I have 3 of their albums here, and I technically have more of them. And this is technically, I did buy this one too, so I actually have 2 of the legit copies of this one. But we'll get back to it because, like I said, I want to see if Eli is like awake and if he wants to like jump on so we can chat about that. In the meantime, I do have this Asking Alexandria album. This isn't like a regular album. This is the stepped up and scratched, which means they're mostly like remixes of it. It's not like the regular ones, so there's like production notes in here and stuff too. I never super got into Asking Alexandria. They had like a handful of like songs that were like really cool, and of course they made the front of it look like an album even though it's a CD, which is kind of funny now. Like thinking about it, it seems kind of funny to me. So I don't really remember what the remixes sounded like because I didn't get into them nearly as much. But again, some of these I wanted to hold on to because like as an elder emo, it kind of felt weird to just like get rid of these because they were like my history. And speaking of history, let's just talk about old Black Veil Brides, because I don't think emos from my era like did not go through a phase where you at least like something from Black Veil Brides. This came out after they got really popular and they became a lot more edgy, you can see. So if you remember like their first music video, like Knives and Pens, they were a lot more like traditional black clothes. Like I said, I think he wears like a white v-neck and tight pants. And then they started becoming more edgy and like wearing metal-ish attire. So they have more like leather and stuff. And this is actually a pretty long album. There's a lot of songs on it. Granted, some of them are like short because they're like the transition kind of songs in between. And I'm trying to see which song I really liked off of this because I know there was some that I liked off of this one. Probably in the end, I feel like New Year's Day, I feel like was really popular too. I don't know. It's very edgy. I mean, there's a song called We Don't Belong. Like it's gonna just be like a lot of people when they think of emo music, they're gonna think of Black Veil Brides. Which Andy Six is like, I think, does he even go by that anymore? I don't know if he still goes by Andy Six. Back then he went by Andy Six. But anyway, they have their edgy little wasteland art kind of going on. That's how like their music videos looked for a while, where they were kind of like fighting, I don't know, the end of the world, I guess. I guess that was what their aesthetic was. Let me see. I thought that's what he meant by it. Just says Andy in here, but I remember calling him Andy Six, so I'm assuming that I did not just make that up and like something came up. Sometime I should read the thank you messages in these because sometimes they were weird. And I remember thinking that like as a kid, because like back then, you know, you couldn't like get online, so sometimes you would have to read whatever you could to like learn about the people that you were into. So you'd have to actually go out and buy like AP magazine and stuff to like read things because we didn't have as much access to the internet. So I remember reading some of this, and sometimes they said some of the weirdest crap in the thank you messages. So I'm not sure. This one may not be as funny. Most of the ones that I'm glancing at on here, they're pretty normal thank yous, but he just goes by Andy Biersack now, right? Because that's like his legit name, and he does like acting and stuff now, which is cool. Like good for him. I always thought he was really handsome and he had a really pretty voice, but I listened to his music because I liked the way that his voice sounded, but I didn't like his music, if that makes sense. Like I didn't actually like this that much. I thought it was kind of, I don't know, I guess boring or maybe a little cringy because it was too on the nose. But his voice was so good. Like I don't know. I just remember I was obsessed with the sound of his voice. He had a very deep voice and he had a very pretty face. So it's kind of like Felix from Stray Kids, which I just had a picture of Felix up here. So like Felix from Stray Kids, which he looks a little bit more edgy in this picture, but normally he looks a little bit more baby girl. And he's got like a really deep manly voice, so it's kind of like jarring. And I've always liked that kind of thing, so forgive me because I'm a weirdo. I think Eli might be asleep. I'm gonna wait just a little bit longer because they have a crazy sleep schedule, so maybe they just aren't available. Let's see what else I got over here. I only have a couple more in the pile of the ones that my friend gave me, and then I have, like I said, that giant box next to me of the ones that are mine from like childhood, and I'll try to say if I can remember how long I've had them. And anyway, Breathe Carolina. This was kind of also that era I talked about last time where if you were really into like MySpace scene music, this was kind of like in that kind of thing. And it also had, similar to like Attack Attack and IT Stars, I didn't talk about Attack Attack earlier. They also had that electronic core kind of sound. Breathe Carolina had that too, but there was more of like a pop influence and less of a metalcore influence. So this felt more like screamy dance music, whereas a lot of the other stuff just felt like electronic metal music. This album specifically like went over the 7 deadly sins, and I would say the most popular songs on this album are probably Last Night Vegas and Blackout. Maybe Woolly also kind of got there. I liked Edge of Heaven a lot. I think that was probably my favorite song. But this was not my favorite album by them. They've had other albums since. The cool thing about this is like you can see that they kind of did a matte finish, and then to make the city, they kind of added like a mylar or something overlay to kind of give it like a look. So it's kind of hard to see on camera, but you can see how like parts of it are glossy and then parts of it are matte. But yeah, this was like each song was supposed to be based off of one of the 7 deadly sins or whatever. And that was really cool. So I really liked them. They also could sing some pretty unhinged stuff sometimes. They were pretty hypersexualized sometimes. And then I think most of their most famous stuff probably came off of the album Hello Fascination, which is when I got into them pretty hardcore. But they'd had an album before that, and I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but there was a song called, I think, The Birds and the Bees, and I loved that song. But they look like this. And that was what a lot of us looked like when this album came out in 2011. This was like one of the most popular looks. I think Kellen Quinn had hair like this. Vic Fuentes had this, but a little bit longer. So that was like very normal. And having metalcore bands with these kinds of hats back then, trucker hats were just so in. I mean, I guess that's like a flat bill snapback. They were just really in. I never liked that look, but anyway, it was really popular. I love Breathe Carolina. This is a solid album, but I usually get bored before I get to the end of it because there's some, like, to me, boring songs around the middle. They're actually not that bad, but I think they just get, like, lower energy, and I'm used to, like, higher energy stuff for them, so then, like, I just get, I don't know, bored or whatever. Checking again to see what I got. Let's talk about this band. This is Family Force 5, and this is one of their new albums. This is from 2011. I got into Family Force 5 back when Earthquake and stuff came out, and they were considered a Christian band, so I was allowed to listen to them on Sundays, so I knew Family Force 5 really, really well. One of the albums I have from them is actually in my car because I used to listen to it quite a bit, and so I don't physically have it, but that's the one that has Country Gentleman and stuff on it, which is really good. So eventually I can listen to that album straight forwards, backwards, sideways, and I never skip a song. This is the album that had Wobble come out, which is a choice. They made, I don't know, it's really fun to listen to. I don't know, it's cringy and it's kind of embarrassing. Their music videos were usually pretty funny. But they were also kind of like, they were just weird. And they did this weird, like, kind of like 303, where they were a little cringy, but they like knew they were being a little cringy, and it was like funny because they were self-aware, like almost like satire or something, or parody. But they did it like where 303 went like super hypersexualized. Somehow Family Force 5 made it like family appropriate. So anyway, they still make music. I think they just released like a golden version of their music. which is just like, I think their greatest hits or something like that. But I still will get into Family Force 5 Kicks and I will listen to it. But they just crack me up, and their songs are hilarious and they're fun to dance to. And yeah, I love Family Force 5. They also made a Christmas album, so I remember my friends listening to that a lot. And it was actually good. So we definitely listened to these a lot. Wobble's good. Chainsaw was, I think, on the album before this one, which was really good. And then, like I said, their earlier stuff is where I got into them, where they had Earthquake, and I think there was a song called Cardboard or something, and Country Gentleman. And so I was like super, super into them back then. It's been a long time for some of these. I don't usually listen to albums straight through anymore, so it's kind of like hard to remember. I do have Breaking Benjamin. This doesn't count because technically I'm giving this to my mom because this is her favorite band. I think she might have this one, but I grabbed it just in case she doesn't, or hers is scratched up because it was her favorite band growing up. We listened to a lot of Breaking Benjamin and Evanescence, and I've seen Breaking Benjamin, I think, 3 times live. But the last time we saw them was really depressing because he got really drunk on stage and he was singing the song Firefly, and he sang the same verse like 3 times in a row, and finally like one of the guitarists had to like get him to go into the next part because he just like was stuck in a loop. It was kind of weird. But he was really drunk and he was drinking a lot on stage. So that was kind of sad whenever that happened. But like I said, we've seen them a couple times. They used to come to, like, our area has like a festival run by one of the radios in the area, and he would usually be at that one at least once a summer, which is why I saw them so much. And why I saw a lot of people, because it was cool, because back then when you did a festival, like, it would be, you could see like 5 or 6 different bands and they would tour the cities instead of you having to drive all the way to Lollapalooza or whatever. You'd only drive to wherever your closest city was and you could still see them. So there was that one. And I think some of the ones that went more places were like the Family Values Tour, I think would tour the whole area, like the whole country. And that would have a lot of people, like System of a Down, I think was even there. Korn, maybe. I feel like I saw Korn or somebody there. But anyway, I miss those kinds of shows. They don't happen as much as they used to. Now they want to do like one location, and I don't like those as much. Crown the Empire is an amazing band that's often overlooked and highly underrated. I've seen them live at a Warped Tour, I think, too, and they're really good. Disc 1 is probably one of my favorites, but they have good songs on both discs because this is actually like a long album. Most people probably have heard maybe The Fallout or Memories of a Broken Heart. But Johnny Ringo and Johnny's Revenge and Leave Me Out of the Dark and Voices are also really good. Honestly, I don't think this album either has very bad music. And this is really nice because it's deluxe, so it's got both of the albums in there. I think it's possible it might have had something in the beginning, but and maybe we just lost that part. But it's been, I mean, this came out in 2013, so it's been over 10 years since this came out. Do I have One Direction? No. Sorry, that's not my style. But I do have Escape the Fate, and look at this one. It's signed, but this is after it became Craig, and this is when it was still Ronnie Radke, who, okay, I'm not popular, so he's never going to see this, but I don't like Ronnie Radke, and I love his voice, so I've always had a love-hate relationship with listening to his new band, Falling in Reverse, because I love hearing his voice, and I think his music's actually not that bad. It's gotten a little cringy now that he's kind of like carried on and has this chip on his shoulder that won't go away, and I'm kind of tired of that. But I can't deny that he has a really nice voice and he has some skill with what he does. I just don't like him as a human being. And even if I don't look at like current stuff, like he tends to get into fights online and he's kind of petty and everything. Like that aside, I remember like thinking like back to this era, like even before and like right after he got out of prison, he was just always rude. And I know before I got to see him live, my friend had gone to see another band and they opened. And I remember she was mad because he was talking about feeding cats to his dogs. and she got really mad because she's a cat person. And so she was like done with them. So I'm kind of surprised I guess because this is Escape the Fate, technically is why she kept this album, because she got rid of everything Falling in Reverse after that because she had liked them. And this was like back when the first album came out, the one that has I Think My Life is like a video game and all that kind of crap. Well, after that, we actually saw not Escape the Fate. We saw Falling in Reverse at a Warped Tour. And he threw a huge fit because he was trying to sing Situations and people weren't loud enough for him. So he restarted the song like 5 times and people were getting pissed in the crowd because he was being annoying about it. And it's like everybody was singing and screaming, but they just weren't loud and he was being rude. And he knew he was being rude because he even said he was being a jerk. And then all of a sudden he was just kind of like laughing about it. And then he sang a song about how he's an asshole because he's self-aware. And I don't know. So I struggle listening to him because he's just a jerk. And that's not, like I said, including all the other situations that he's gotten into since then. Because this was like 7-8 years ago when that happened. Actually longer than that. Almost 10 years ago when that happened. So that was before all of the recent drama and any of the like political correctness that he's gotten in trouble for lately. He's just always been kind of a dick. Now, Craig has always been sweet as far as I've ever seen. He's always been nice. I think he had like some trouble like most rock stars do, but nothing like crazy as far as I know. I mean, he might have gotten into some. I just miss his voice from when he was in Bless the Fall because I really liked it, but it's cool that she got this signed. We probably got this signed at a Warped Tour. We used to go wait in line because you used to be able to wait in line for free, and then as long as you were in the line by a certain time, they would let you go up there and then you could get stuff signed. But anyway, so that's really cool. And the booklet's still in really good shape. So I'm glad that I grabbed this one because otherwise that would be in a donate pile. And I do like them. This was, I think, I'm trying to think. Oh, this had Gorgeous Nightmare on it, which is a good song. But there's some really good Escape the Fate songs, but I didn't get into Escape the Fate as much after Craig took over. Maybe that first album afterward, but then after that I kind of was like hit or miss with the songs. Now this album is a great album, and again, I love Ronnie's voice in this album. They did really good. I can listen to this whole album front to back like every single time. But he's just a dick. I actually, if we'd had a girl, I was gonna name her Juliet because of the song that uses that name, but we didn't have a girl, so it didn't matter. And this is such an iconic cover. Other people have tried to do like a similar look, but it just isn't the same. But so yeah, this is an older album. I can't even remember when this came out. I'll have to look. And they were also like really over the top edgy, so sometimes the music videos especially were like cringe. And I can tell she either listened to this a lot because this album cut is like super broken, or she got mad at it because, like I said, Ronnie's a dick and she might have just not treated it super great. I'm trying to see when it came out. I can't read it because it's too scratched up. But I feel like I was still in high school, so it was I was still in high school, so it was pre-2009 anyway. I have quite a few still to go, but I think I'm going to hop off for a second and then come back, and I'm going to see if I can get a hold of Eli to see if he wants to like talk about AFI. I might see if I can bump him again, and then I'll come back. What's my age right now? I'm an ancient swamp witch. I was 10 in 2000, so you can do the math. It's easy math. But anyway, so yeah, I'm gonna pop off for a little bit, and maybe I'll get back on around 4, or maybe I won't. Who knows? Maybe I'll try to make one of those. Maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'm gonna try to make one of those shorts and see how that goes. I'm not really good at editing, so it's probably gonna take me a long time. But yeah, I'm glad you guys have popped on too. I mean, I need to send you that package. I'm so bad. Yep, you're pretty much on. I'm old. But anyway, so maybe I'll get back on. Tomorrow I'm off work, which is cool. So I'm gonna go get my hair done, and maybe I'll go live tomorrow for a little bit. Who knows? It'll just depend on my mood because I've had like a really crappy day. So I don't know. I'm just not feeling it. I'm probably gonna go play Stardew Valley, honestly. Oh, thanks. I mean, I don't know if you've been playing, but 1.6 dropped on consoles, so if you're going to play, now's a good time. because the new thing is going better. But anyway, so yeah, so I'm gonna get off, but I'll get back on. If I probably won't get back on today. I'm just gonna be honest. I'll probably get back on a different day. But I still have all of these CDs too. Like I said, these are the ones that came from my house, and I have more that are still at my mom's, but she still listens to some of those, so I didn't bring all of them when I moved. So anyway, we'll go through those, and hopefully, like I said, I can talk to Eli. Maybe I can schedule something so that whenever he's available, I can talk about it, because that's like one of their favorite bands. So anyway, that's all I have. So I will talk to everybody later, and I'll leave this up so Giggle can see it. Love you, Giggle.